Well, the largest democratic exercise on earth has just wrapped up, and the verdict from India's 2024 general election is one that almost nobody saw coming. We're going to break down exactly what happened, and more importantly, why it matters so much.
Think about this. Just a few days before the official count, the exit polls were all saying the same thing: a massive supermajority for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's ruling alliance. The stage was set for a historic landslide win. But as the actual votes were counted, a completely different story began to emerge. That predicted tidal wave, it turned out to be more of a ripple, creating a dramatic shift in the country's political landscape. It is the question on everybody's mind. How did the predictions get it so wrong? And what does this incredible result actually tell us about the world's most populous democracy? That is exactly what we are going to unpack.
So here's our roadmap. We'll start by digging into the scale of this upset. Then we'll meet the key players. After that, we're going to decode the numbers to see exactly how the balance of power has shifted. Then we'll explore what it all means for how India is governed. And finally, we'll look at the new political reality that's taking shape. All right, first up, a stunning upset. Let's get right to the heart of why these results have sent such massive shockwaves across India and really around the world.
So here it is. The single most important takeaway from this election. For the last 10 years, the Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP, has governed India with a commanding majority all on its own. That era, it's over. That single-party dominance is officially a thing of the past.
Okay, Section 2, the players and the pitch. Now, to really understand these results, you have to know who was in the ring. This election was basically a showdown between two major teams, or alliances.
So on one side, you have the National Democratic Alliance, the NDA. This is the team led by the BJP, and they've been in power for the last decade. And on the other side, you had a whole bunch of opposition parties who banded together to form the Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, or, very conveniently, the India Bloc, led by the historic Indian National Congress Party.
And now for part 3, let's decode the final tally. This is where we get into the election math to see precisely how this new political landscape got carved out.
The first thing you need to know is this number right here, 272. In India's lower house of parliament, which has 543 seats, any party or alliance needs to hit 272 to have a majority and form the government. It is the absolute magic number.
So the ruling NDA alliance did cross that majority mark, ending up with 293 seats total. The opposition India alliance, though, put up a much stronger fight than anyone predicted, finishing with 232 seats. But that top-line number for the NDA doesn't even begin to tell the whole story.
And this is where it gets really fascinating. When you break down the NDA's total, you see that the main party, the BJP, only won 240 seats on its own. That's a full 32 seats short of that 272 magic number. So, for the first time in a decade, the BJP cannot govern alone. It is now completely dependent on its coalition partners to stay in power.
So where did the BJP lose all that ground? Well, the party took some major hits in several huge populous states. In Uttar Pradesh, which is India's most politically important state, their seat count was nearly cut in half. They also fell way short of expectations in Maharashtra and West Bengal, all contributing to this smaller national number.
Which brings us to Section 4. What does this all mean for India? We've seen the numbers. Now let's talk about the real-world impact of this shift away from one-party rule to what we call coalition politics.
So what exactly is a coalition government? Well, think of it this way. Instead of one party calling all the shots, it's a system where multiple parties have to cooperate to get anything done. Power is shared, and big decisions, well, they require a whole lot of negotiation and agreement. And this creates a whole new dynamic. For one, the Prime Minister is now totally dependent on his key allies to keep his government afloat. Second, it means those bold, unilateral policy decisions of the past, they're going to be much harder to push through. Consensus is now the name of the game. And third, this signals a much bigger shift away from a highly centralized government to a more consultative style of leadership.
You know, this analysis from the Hindustan Times just sums it up perfectly. It says, the era of a strong, single-party government is over, replaced by a period of consensus, negotiation, and compromise. That right there is the fundamental change in Indian politics.
So let's move to our final section and look ahead. The new political reality and what we should all be watching for as India enters this next chapter.
So the bottom line is this. Prime Minister Narendra Modi did secure a historic third term in office.
But this victory is different. He now has to govern with a much more limited, more constrained mandate than he's had before, and that changes the very nature of his power.
And this just lays out the journey perfectly. In 2014, the BJP won a clear majority all by itself. In 2019, they did even better, winning a massive landslide. But now in 2024, while the alliance they lead still won, the party itself is completely reliant on its partners to govern. It's a truly pivotal moment.
And so, we're left with the central question hanging over India's future. Will this new era of coalition politics lead to more compromise and collaboration? A more consultative government? Or could the constant push and pull between coalition partners actually lead to a period of political instability? Only time will tell.